Never have I ever been more disgusted and let down by my country. G'day, ladies and gents. It's Fiddle coming at you with another video, and this one is it's a very sour video. It's very sad. It's very unfortunate, and it's honestly just I cannot put into words how devastated and just absolutely disgusted I am with the Australian justice system, and just with this person in particular in general. But I'm gonna give you the rundown and share my thoughts. I hope you have the same thoughts, because this sort of behavior just is intolerable and it's just disgusting. So recently, in 2024, a father from WA, Western Australia, was jailed for sexually abusing his own daughter. He had more than 40 counts of sexual offending against his own daughter. Let that sink in just for a second. Against his own daughter. How foul and disgusting is that? He committed these offenses between 2019 and 2022, a span of almost 3 years. 3 years of abuse and trauma for this girl who is 11 and then turned 14 recently. Imagine enduring this type of exploitation and disgusting behavior behind closed doors with no help, no one to protect you, and let's be honest, not a lot of people would believe you because it's your own father. Like, what kind of father and man would do this to their own child? You know what I mean? But unfortunately, it happened. And he was sentenced to 14 years and 6 months in prison for these 40 counts of sexual offending. He pleaded guilty to 5 of the accounts, and he had some child exploitation material. I'm sure you guys know what I'm talking about. And he also filmed several of these disgusting acts that he had done to his daughter. So he was sentenced to 14 years and 6 months for these crimes. Let that sink in. 14 years, that's it. 14 years and 6 months for abusing and traumatizing a little innocent girl for 3 years. How obscene is that? We're not talking about a one-off scenario. We're not talking about, this is a one-off like sexual abuse thing. Like this man didn't just go up to a woman and then abused her and then that was it and then got sentenced or whatever. No, this was an occurrence of over 3 years. And he had 40 counts against him, and he still manages to only run away with 14 years in prison. And to top it all off, to make this story even more disappointing, is the fact that he appealed the sentence and said that he was only given a 10% discount for an early plea deal, arguing that it should have been a 25% discount. Now, what kind of man can sit there and try to get his way out of prison? This is a man who doesn't want to take accountability for his actions. It's inherently obvious that he doesn't, because he wants to make sure that he gets the least amount of time in prison possible. This is what evil looks like. Thankfully, one of the lawyers, Natalie Sinton, said that the 10% discount was not unreasonable, given that the father had filmed the acts, and also that the daughter had to give birth to a child. I'm not kidding. This daughter had to give birth to a child, and they found out that it was the father's child, right? So they said that a 10% discount was not unreasonable, which I guess that's fair enough because the girl has been through enough suffering already, and the fact that she had to give birth as well is just absolutely disgusting. And I cannot credit this girl for how courageous she must have been to get through this and to stand up against this foul, evil criminal. And not only that, they found Google searches of the father trying to find fake DNA tests because he didn't want to be linked to the girl's pregnancy. How immoral and reprehensible. But I guess that didn't matter to the court because they ruled that a 10% discount was unreasonable and plainly unjust. And they decided to re-sentence him and increase the discount to 22%. And now his sentence has been reduced to 12 years. How much more evidence do they need to see that this is a horrible, horrible man and that he does not belong out in society? Let me read out some of the Google searches that this man had. Man jailed for fake DNA test to deny parentage of 2 sons. Can a mother refuse a paternity test? Australia. Can police see deleted DMs? How long can a drug test pick up meth? And what does a fake DNA test look like? So not only is this man searching up ways to avoid this situation, he's also linked with drugs as well, apparently. But it's absolutely brazen and obvious that this man committed absolutely atrocious crimes. And the courts still find a way to give him a little bit of leeway. Even if it's just a little bit, even if it's just 2 years. Because 14 years, 12 years, whatever, it's not going to undo the 3 years of trauma and exploitation that this young girl had to go through. And by the time of scripting and releasing this video, this man is already eligible for parole. I'm just so baffled. It's like the government and the courts, they just want to give these brazen criminals and disgusting human beings every bit of leeway to keep them in society. Even though there is hardcore evidence against them, and even though these crimes were gross, atrocious, reprehensible, and disgusting, there is no justice for this little girl. What does she receive? What treatment is she going to get? Is she going to get therapy? Because no bit of therapy is going to undo these sort of acts. No bit of prison time is going to make her feel safe around this man. And the fact that he can get released in 2037 is just baffling to me. In 2037, he can be a free man. He can work. You can work with him. You might be his roommate. You might live next to him. He might be your neighbor. And I'm not trying to tell us Australians to turn on each other, right? But I just want you all to imagine the type of society that we're going to live in if this sort of behavior keeps getting let off the hook. Because it shouldn't. It should be dealt with accordingly, and it should be dealt with swiftly and strictly, because this sort of behavior does not belong in Australia. It is not true blue, it is un-Australian, it is disgusting, and it needs to get out of the country right now, and the courts need to put their foot down and do something about it, for the sake of Australian children and for the sake of Australian posterity. Anyways, guys, that's enough of my rant. I'm going to leave things there. I've ranted for far too long already, but that's the Australia that we live in now. But anyway, have a good rest of your day. Hopefully this story doesn't bother you too much, and do all the best you can. Keep your loved ones safe, and I will see you all in the next video.